Right now, a voluntary evacuation for homes east of Bay Boulevard in LaPorte continues. This follows a hazardous chemical release from a tanker truck.
This happened near the Dow facility that's on Bay Area Boulevard in the Bayport area. A shelter in place was issued there, but it has since been lifted. Aniele Ruiz live in LaPorte tonight.
Aniele, what's the chemical in the tanker that is cause for concern here?
Well, hey guys, it's called hydroxyethyl acrylate, and officials tell us there's not really a major air quality concern at this time. That's because the tanker has stopped releasing that chemical, but they're concerned because they think that the tanker could be causing pressure, and if it explodes, it could cause a reaction with chemicals nearby. It was a routine inspection early Wednesday morning at the Dow Chemical in Bayport that caused quite the chaos for many in the LaPorte area.
I told my co-workers there's something going on over there. So, yep, sure enough, that was blocking streets over here.
Officials tell us a tanker trunk was venting hazardous chemical materials. The concern was when the tanker stopped releasing the chemicals, and officials were not sure why it stopped.
If it is in fact continuing to react with itself, it could eventually cause a fire, could eventually cause an explosion.
Officials say they poured water onto the tanker to bring down the temperature, and they evacuated people within half-a-mile radius. They're worried if the tanker explodes, other materials in the area could possibly react, including tankers nearby and two facilities that can't easily turn everything off. Officials tell us they've sent in drones to try and see if they can get a temperature reading of the tanker truck. And Dow Chemical has also sent 2 emergency personnel into the facility to do a thermal assessment of the tanker trucks.
Worst case scenario could be an explosion. We could hear loud noises. There could be a fire. The materials that are in there could burn off. If it burns, in some ways it's less bad because you're not having the most dangerous chemicals present a threat to health.
The chemical that was released into the air is called hydroxyethyl acrylate. Officials tell us the chemical in that tanker truck is used for coatings and adhesives.
They are actively monitoring anything in our air, tracking it to make sure that there's no concerns there.
Well, the Harris County is monitoring the air quality here in this area, and TCEQ will also be out here this evening to continue to monitor that. Now, we do know that most of the area here affected is an industrial area. There are about 10 homes down that way. Almost everyone has evacuated except for 2 people. Now, we do know officials plan to have a press conference within the next 30 minutes to update us on the status of the tanker, and of course, we will bring you guys the very latest. Live in LaPorte, Aniele Ruiz, KHOU 11 News.
Staying on top of the response at the facility, and we will live stream that update coming up at 5:30 for you. Thank you so much, Aniele.